You may have noticed that a lot of people talk about Google AI Studio, but very few actually show how to use this tool in practice. And that's exactly what you're going to learn today. In this video, I'm going to show you the inside of Google AI Studio, how to navigate it, what each menu does, and most importantly, how to turn it into something truly useful. No theory here, you'll leave understanding how to use this to create real projects. But first, subscribe to the channel, and to watch the videos without ads, just click the join button. All set. So let's get to the video. Well guys, today I want to share with you some tips on how to use Google AI Studio in practice. A lot of people talk about this tool, and I've even made other videos here on the channel showing what you can do with Google AI Studio. But a lot of people ask me, okay, but what is this tool? Where are the menus? What are they for? How can we use this in our daily lives? So, in this video, I'm going to break down everything you can do, what the main features are here inside Google AI Studio. Starting with the playground, which is the main screen. When we enter the tool, right below the menu, I have the history of everything I've already created here inside the tool. If you want to see more, just click here on View All History, and then you vai conseguir visualizar todos os projetos that you've already created here inside Google AI Studio, going back here to the playground. The message already appears here in English, because at least for now, the tool is not translated into our language. So start building with Gemini. When you click on any of these buttons here, you get access to the artificial intelligence model that will be used to perform a specific task. In the first one here, when we click, we can choose between the main artificial intelligence models from Google. I have here the Gemini 3 Flash Preview, the Gemini 3.1 Pro Preview, and the Nano Banana 2. Notice that the Nano Banana 2 has a paid tag here. In other words, to use it inside Google AI Studio, you'll need to have an API key linked to a credit card. Now, which models are intended for coding, reasoning, and chat? So, again here you have Gemini 3 Flash, Gemini 3.1, and Nano Banana. Now for the tool, for image generation, Nano Banana 2, Nano Banana Pro, and Nano Banana. So, these buttons here are nothing more than shortcuts to the artificial intelligence models that are linked to a specific task. Video generation, Vio 3.1, Vio 3.1 Fast, Vio 2, and so on. Text to speech, same thing. Gemini 2.5 Pro Preview, Gemini 2.5 Flash Preview, and here in real time, which is when you have a direct conversation with the artificial intelligence. You will use Gemini 2.0.5 Flash, Native Audio Preview, everything available here in case you want to use it. So, these shortcuts here make things a lot easier, especially if you don't know what each model is for. Here, at the top, you have the option for a temporary chat. So, if you don't want to save what you talk about here with the artificial intelligence, just select the temporary chat here. From there, you can start talking. But this won't be saved automatically. When you leave, it will disappear. Still up here, you have the comparison mode, so if you suddenly want to create an app, a website, or anything else, you can compare the models. On one side here, for example, I have Gemini 3.1 Flash, and on the other side here, I can choose, for example, Gemini 3 Flash. So, when I type my prompt here, I'll have a side-by-side comparison of these two models working at the same time. And this feature is very useful, especially when you're coding and you're going to use an API. And you want to know if the most basic model, the cheaper one, will meet your needs. So sometimes you use a very expensive model and you don't really need it, because it's a simple application where the cheaper model will be able to handle the job. So you can code here side by side. And then you'll see if this cheaper model meets your needs, so you don't have to spend money on the more expensive model. At least not yet. Here in the top menu, when you click on the three dots, you have the option for raw mode. What is that? It's that raw mode where you interact directly with the intelligence. What gets saved here won't be in Markdown format, you'll have plain text there, just like if you were using Notepad, for example. So, if you need this feature, it's available here in this three-dot menu. Leaving the top section, let's now move to the right sidebar. So, in this first menu, I have access to all the artificial intelligence models that are available here inside Google AI Studio. Remember that some are free and those for generating images, like Nano Banana 2. For those, you'll need a paid API key. But all the models are available here for generating images, videos, audio, all the mini models, and so on. They're all listed here, so you can choose when creating your application. Next menu, System Instructions. What is this for? Well, specifically so you can tell the system how this application you're trying to create should work. So here you'll actually give some instructions. Look, I need you to act. As a programmer, I want clean code to create a type of application, a website, and so on. So here are the instructions for the model. If none are showing up, just click here to create a new one. Then you'll give it a title and describe what you want to create. What are the instructions the model should follow when generating your app? Third menu, paid API key. When you don't have any, it will show up here in API key. Then, when you click, you can select your key by clicking here, and that's it. I've already selected my paid API key here. So, for that, you need to have a credit card linked, otherwise it won't work. Now, if you want to create a paid API key, how do you do it? It's very simple. Let's quickly go here to the menu on the left side. You'll click here on Get API Key, and here all the keys you have will be listed. If you want to create a new one, just click here on Create API Key, Create New Project, Create Project, Project Created. Then you'll give a name to your key and create it. If you haven't set up your credit card yet, you'll be redirected here to Google Cloud. Then you'll select here, payment method, and then you'll do the following. If no credit card is showing up here that's already linked to your Google account, you'll click here on add payment method. Then you'll enter your credit card number, all the details, and give the authorizations. And from then on, when you use your paid API key, that's when your credit card will be charged. So, the more you use it, the more expensive it gets. And that's directly related to the type of artificial intelligence model you're using. If it's Gemini 3.1 Pro, for example, the API is more expensive. The 2.5 Pro has a cheaper API. So, it will depend on what you want to create. Coming back here to the menu on the right side, leaving the API section, just below that, we have the temperature, which is the model's creativity. So, the more creativity it has, the more autonomy you give to the model. So, it can create your application and not follow exactly what's in the prompt. So, ideally, you should leave it in the middle so the model has some creativity but still follows the instructions you put in the prompt. Otherwise, you might get something completely different. Here in media resolution, we have some options: low, medium, and high. Then it says the following: the higher the resolution, the better the model's understanding will be. But consequently, it will use more tokens. So this choice here also impacts the result you will get. The more resolution you want here for your media, the more tokens you will spend. And if you're using a free API key, your limit might run out more quickly. Reasoning level, you also have minimum, low, medium, and high. As the name suggests, if your application is more complex and needs a higher level of reasoning, you can select medium or high here, remembering that the more reasoning, the more tokens you use. And these other options that appear down here are also available here in the tools. You have the option here to enable the structured prompt as long as you don't select Google search here. So you can choose here to have, for example, a structure in JSON. Notice that the tag already appears down here, so you'll have the structured prompt within your application. I also have here the code execution option, which will do the following. It will allow Gemini to use code to solve tasks. So if you select it, the tag will also appear down here. It's the same thing here with function calling. So when you enable it, you'll allow Gemini to use functions to solve your tasks. All of this is more advanced. It will obviously depend on the type of application you want to create. If you need something that will use, for example, a Google Maps API, then you select this little tag here. And lastly, the URL context. So maybe you want to use a URL inside your prompt. Just activate this switch here. Most of the time, for most users, it's enough for you to select the use of Google search here, because it won't rely only on the database to create your application. If you needed to go online to search for any kind of data, it's important that this switch here is activated. Still here, in the prompt field, inside the playground menu, I have the option to tell the model what I want to create, instead of just typing. So, when I activate it, it asks for permission here to use my microphone. Then, instead of typing, I can simply speak. The artificial intelligence will transcribe and place it in the prompt field. On the other little button here on the plus sign, I can insert images, videos, audio, or files. So there's this option here in case you want to upload a file into Google AI Studio. Well, so this was the playground menu. Now with this new update that just arrived here in Google AI Studio, the main tab, the one we're going to use the most, is this one. The Build tab is where we build our apps, websites, and so on. Here, in this hidden menu, I have the settings, so I can choose which artificial intelligence model I want to use. Gemini 3 Flash Preview, Gemini 3.1 Pro Preview, Gemini 3.1 Flashlight Preview, So, you select the model once again. Here you will give instructions to the model, what it should do, how it should behave when generating your application. Another new feature, here in Framework, we can choose if you want React, Next.js, or Angular. I prepared a little summary here, showing you what the main differences are between these frameworks. Listen to this definition made here by ChatGPT. React is a library for building interfaces. Next.js is a framework based on React for creating complete web applications. And Angular is a complete framework with a more opinionated structure and more native features. Then, he makes a simple analogy here. React is like pieces to build a house. Next.js is a complete house kit using those pieces. And Angular? A condominium with rules, blueprints, standards, and infrastructure already defined. Which one should you choose? For most current content projects, SaaS, dashboards, landing pages, and modern web applications, Next.js is usually the most practical choice, because it delivers the flexibility of React with the structure ready. Now, if you want maximum freedom and to build your stack your own way, it makes more sense. And finally, if the focus is strong standardization, robust architecture, and an enterprise environment, Angular might be more suitable. Returning to Google AI Studio, just below the framework menu. Here I have the option to see which type of API I'm using. In this case, I'm using a free API. Once again, if I want to add a paid API key, I just need to click here on the gear icon, then you'll select the project and create a new key. And if it's a paid one, you link your credit card. And finally, here, the use of the microphone. So, if you have more than one microphone at home, you can select which one you want to use. And from there, when you activate, for example, the microphone here inside Google AI Studio, it will use the microphone you chose. So, still here in the Build tab, in the Start menu, I have the prompt field where I'm going to type what I want to create. In the gallery, I have all the apps that were created here inside Google AI Studio and that were highlighted by the community. So, you can choose any of these here, for example, so you can get inspired. They're all available here. If you like any of them, just click on it and it will take that project to your account. Then, you can remix it in the Your Apps menu. I can see everything I've created here inside Google AI Studio under the Build tab. If I select this first tag here, I'll see the ones that were opened recently. In this other one, the ones that were created by me. And in this last tag, I can see the apps that weren't created by me, but were remixed. And here in the FAQ, I have access to the documentation, so if I want to explore or learn more about Google, I have access to the document here. Or otherwise, here are some questions and answers that can be answered by Google itself, so they're available here. If you have any questions, you can access the FAQ menu, going back here to Start. With this new update, which was released here inside Google AI Studio, you can create complete applications. With that, you got new tags here to use in your prompt. So, if you want to create, for example, an application that has a database and authentication, just click on the tag, it will appear up here, and then you type your prompt. From there, it will take this function and implement it in your application. And like I mentioned earlier, if you want to remix any of these apps that appear here in the gallery, just click on it. Like I said, it is brought here to your account. If you want to remix it, just click here on Remix. You will give the app a new name, write a brief description, and apply it. From then on, this app, which was created by someone else, will be available in your account. To show you something created here inside Google AI Studio, scrolling down a bit on the sidebar, on this first button here, what's new? I have everything that has been added to Google AI Studio. So, if you want to know what's new, it's available here in Get API. It's what I showed you. This is the tab where you can choose a free API or link your credit card to get access to a paid API key. And in settings, you can choose the theme, whether you want the light theme, dark theme, or for it to follow your system. This second function here is very interesting because you can choose whether you want to send your command simply by pressing enter, or if you want to use the Ctrl+Enter combination. Because sometimes you're typing and accidentally press enter, and then you risk sending your prompt incomplete. So, if you set it to Ctrl+Enter here, you'll be able to type, press enter, then it goes to the next line, and you keep writing. Then, when your prompt is ready, you press Ctrl+Enter, and it sends the command. Because if you don't leave this enabled, every time you press enter, your command will go straight to Google AI Studio, and then you'll have to stop and start over. So, if you want to have more control, just enable Ctrl plus enter here, so that when you press enter, it understands that you want to go to the next line and not send your command. Here, you choose whether or not you want to enable notifications. And that's cool, because if you're doing something else, Google AI Studio will keep working. And when it's done, you'll get a notification on your desktop. In this other option here, View Status, you can see how the Gemini API is working, if there's any problem, any bug, any crash. In the last 90 days, we had problems here on January 8th, February 4th, February 27th, and March 17th. So, if you had any issues on those days, just come here to the dashboard and you can see when those problems happened. Right below, here, you have access to the privacy policy. You can send feedback to the Google AI Studio team. If you're having any issues with payment, just click here on Billing Supports. So, all these features are available here inside the settings menu. Going back here to the Build tab, take a look at this application I created here, already using the new Google AI Studio, where I have a database and authentication. All of this is linked within the same project. It's a simple app that I created here just to demonstrate. I made an app for adding customers to my construction materials store. Use the database to store the names and phone numbers and authentication for security. So, here I have my app. Here I have access to the code. And this is an implementation that happened just recently. Why? In the past, when you created an app here inside Google AI Studio, did it only give you the front end? So, you had a basic code that you could take to another tool and from there, create your app. Now that's not the case. When you create an app here inside Google AI Studio, you have access to a full stack project. So, I have here all the folders, all the code, and all the files that were used to create my app. If you want, you can copy it, take it to the clipboard, and move it to another tool. Or, if you click this button here, you'll download a zipped file to your computer, and then you can take it to another tool as well. So now you have the possibility to have a full stack application here inside Google AI Studio. Going back here to the preview, notice that now I've made an integration here with Firebase, so this is something new here inside Google AI Studio. You have this possibility automatically to integrate with Firebase and also with anti-gravity. So, if Google AI Studio realizes that your app needs a database or more complete code, it will integrate with Firebase or with anti-gravity. And it will give you the result without you having to do absolutely anything. So here I have my app. I'm going to click here on sign in with Google, and that's it. From there, I'm in my app. Notice that since I'm using a database, what I put here in the other video remains. So everything is saved. If I close this tab or open it in another browser, my database remains. If I want to add another one, I'll put here dogphone0000. I'll add it. Done. I already have dog here. By clicking this button, I can view it for computer, for mobile, and for tablet. If I want to see it in full screen, just click here on full screen. Then I can already view it here on this other button. Here, I have access to the version history. So, if you make several changes and you didn't like the last one, you can come here to the menu and then you choose which version you want to go back to. When you select it, just click this button here to restore it. And to publish, this can also be done now right here inside Google AI Studio itself. Just click here on Publish and it will ask you to select a project. My app is already published, so I'll click Open and it will prompt me to log in again. After I log in, notice that since I'm using the database, the information I added remains here. So even if you publish your app, it will become something functional because I have a database linked to my app here. All of this is done within Google AI Studio. Oh, and another thing that few people mention is that even if you have an app here that you just built, or a remix, which is an app you took from someone else and are remixing here in your account, down here you have some functions you can add. So, for this app of mine, I could, for example, add artificial intelligence functions, customer notes, customer search, and so on. So, it already tries to understand which functions could make my app more complete. If you don't want to use any of these options, just come here to the prompt field and type your command. For example, I want to add dark mode, I want to change the font type, the color of the buttons, and so on. So, you have a complete panel here, not only to create your app, but also to edit the ones that already exist. So guys, give it a try. These are the main functions, the main menus that are available here inside Google AI Studio. I hope you liked it and that. For those who are just starting now, this is a light that they can see that Google AI Studio has a lot of cool features. And that it's useful not only for professionals, for those who already work with coding, but also for those who are just starting out. So, did you like this video? Do you think I should do something similar with other tools? Which ones? Tell me in the comments. Well, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.
I've been